We've just examined the flight manifests for the Prime Minister's Challenger jet from March 2018, and it looks like the Liberals are back to using this thing as the family minivan. I just got my hot little hands on yet another batch of flight manifests from the Prime Minister's private government Challenger jet, this time from March 2018. So we started matching the flights up with Liberal fundraisers because, as you know, this is a Government of Canada jet. It's not a Liberal Party chauffeur-driven limo in the sky. Now, the second week of March 2018, Justin Trudeau went on what I would best describe as a "hey, look at me and how much I care so much about our steel industry" tour. That tour took him to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Saguenay, Quebec, Hamilton, Ontario, and, of course, beautiful Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, Trudeau did it to virtue signal to the rest of the world about how much he cares for Canadian steelworkers after President Donald Trump exempted Canada from the steel tariffs that he had just imposed on China. But on page 11, you can see right after the Regina visit on the 14th, Justin Trudeau takes the Challenger and heads to West Palm Beach, Florida for 4 days before returning back to Ottawa with the whole Trudeau family in tow. Well, you know, he did put in a hard week's work. I mean, roughly 2 days worth of work. So he needed to take 4 days off to recover. Nothing shows how much you care about the struggles of the average Canadian worker like squeezing in yet another exclusive, expensive family vacation. Let's go on. On page 13, March 25th, the Challenger flies empty to Kingston to pick Trudeau up to fly him to Montreal. On page 14, March 28, the Challenger flies Trudeau and the entourage to Montreal for less than 2 hours and then all the way back to Ottawa. The reason the Challenger flew Trudeau and the whole gang to Montreal for less than 2 hours? Well, it's because he had to attend a high-level Liberal fundraiser. To attend, it cost $1,500 per person for anyone over the age of 35, with roughly 150 Liberal donors in attendance. In attendance were Seagram's billionaire, Stephen Bronfman. Then there was the pipeline-hating, sewage-dumping former mayor of Montreal, Denis Coderre. Oh, and Mitch Garber, the private equity financier, chairman of Cirque du Soleil, and the owner of the World Series of Poker. Working hard for the middle class by using government resources to get himself to Montreal to panhandle for cash in front of Canada's richest and most influential people. Thanks, Trudeau. On page 16 from this March 6th manifest, the Challenger flies empty all the way to Calgary to pick up Finance Minister Bill Morneau and then fly him to Halifax for what's described as departmental business in the manifest. Bill Morneau is not the Prime Minister, so it is perfectly fine for him to fly commercial, but he doesn't. And it looks like the Challenger was flying to Calgary to pick Bill Morneau up from yet another Liberal Party fundraiser the same evening, March 6th, in Calgary at the Charbar restaurant. How's that for departmental business? On page 10, the Challenger flies Justin Trudeau to Toronto on the 7th of March. Looky here. There's a fundraising event in Toronto the same day for the Liberal Party of Canada, requiring a donation of $250 to $1,500 to be in attendance at the Gardner Museum. On page 17, the Challenger flies to Moncton to pick up Minister of Fisheries and Oceans and the Canadian Coast Guard, Dominic LeBlanc. The Challenger then flies him to Regina and then to British Columbia, and then all the way back to Moncton, and then back to Ottawa over the course of 3 days. Again, Dominic LeBlanc is a cabinet minister. He's not the Prime Minister, so he should be flying on a commercial flight. He's not entitled to a joyride on the Challenger. And we have one last cabinet minister using the Challenger as his Uber in the month of March. Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan and his entourage used the Challenger to fly to Ottawa, then to New Jersey, and then back to Ottawa, all on the very same day. Luckily for us, the flight manifest also gives us a cost breakdown for the ministerial travel on the Challenger, so we can see just how much money these entitled Liberals blew on themselves instead of taking commercial airline flights Harjit Sajjan's one-day junket cost $8,700. Bill Morneau's flights cost $42,300 for about a day and a half of travel. And Dominic LeBlanc's cross-continental gallivanting cost the taxpayer nearly $54,000 over the course of 3 days. It looks like the Liberals are using the Prime Minister's Challenger jet to hop from fundraiser to fundraiser and for cabinet ministers to avoid the discomfort of commercial airline travel with the rest of us normals. The Challenger is not a partisan shuttle. It is not owned by the Liberal Party of Canada. It is not for their exclusive partisan use. It is for the use of the Prime Minister because he requires a higher level of security, and that is absolutely understandable. But that doesn't mean the Prime Minister gets to use the Challenger irresponsibly either, especially our avowed environmentalist Prime Minister who has no problem calling my carbon emissions from my SUV pollution. These are not the flight patterns of a government that is all that concerned about carbon emissions, are they? Or the flight patterns of someone who's concerned about the responsible use of Canadian tax dollars, for that matter. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is my daily video that I do here at The Rebel, but did you know that I have my own weekly full-length show? It's aptly called The Gun Show, and we talk about issues facing Canadian families in a way that you would never see done in the mainstream media. But to get access to my show and the rest of our phenomenal premium content, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.